My name's Nicola. I'm a first-year trainee at Burgess Salmon, and I'm currently sitting in my second seat at the firm. It's quite good. You get to do 6 seats rather than the usual 4. So if you're a bit indecisive about what you want to do, or you just want to try a larger range of practice areas, it's really good for you. You move around every 4 months, and before that time comes, you get to submit 3 preferences for where you'd like to go. So you're very much involved in picking where you'd like to go, and you get to do a wide breadth of different areas. I did a VAT scheme in 2013, August 2013, so 2 years before I actually started my training contract here. A VAT scheme is 2 weeks working at Burgess Salmon. You get to experience 2 different practice areas, do 1 week in one department and then a second week in another. You also get to do social activities with the recruitment team and trainees who are already working here. And there's a range of sort of practice area talks and different kind of skills sessions that sort of fall throughout the week. So, for example, I did skills workshops in negotiation, pitches, client interviews, and also had partners from lots of different departments across the firm come in and talk to us about what their different work involved. So even if you weren't sitting in that department, you had a bit of an idea of the wide scope of work that goes on at the firm. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, there's a training contract interview. And based on your performance in the scheme and also the interview itself, they decide if they want to offer you a training contract. I don't think it feels too much like a job interview for the whole 2 weeks. You are able to relax and enjoy yourself and learn some things as well. But it is very much about them assessing you and also about you assessing them. Having done a few VAC schemes, you realise there's actually quite different cultures in different law firms, and I really like this one, so I was really pleased when they offered me a training contract. I think it's a very open culture, very friendly, and I think being a one-site office is what makes that so. We all work together under one roof, so if you need to talk to someone in a different department, you don't have to pick up the phone to them, you can go and see them, and then a few hours later you'll see them having lunch downstairs, and everyone's very friendly, it's not too hierarchical. You can walk into a partner's office and ask them a question. Doors are usually open unless they have to be shut for a telephone call, and it's just really friendly, really nice place to work, get well looked after. Nice place to be. From the VAC scheme on to now, where I am now, I felt well supported. The vacation scheme was really good. They tried to give us a really big insight into what they were doing, gave us some skills to learn and develop. And then for the 2 years when I wasn't here, but was still continuing with my studies in preparation for the training contract, there was lots of communication from the recruitment team. They send you birthday cards, for example, and you get invited along to the summer parties. There's a New Year lunch you get invited to as well. And they send you the sort of internal communication from the firm as well, which is called Wharfside, which is a big update on everything that's going on with the firm. So you still feel involved in everything that's happened. And then when you start, you have, I think it's almost 3 weeks of induction. So you're not just kind of sent straight to your desk to work. You get a lot of sort of, this is what it's going to be like, this is how this works, this is how you turn a computer on, that kind of thing. And then throughout, there's still training. Even now, I'll probably go to at least 1 training session a week. So it's very much a continuing development process. It was quite exciting. It was the sort of culmination of 2 years of working and waiting and preparing for that first day. I think it would be good to have known that it wasn't going to be scary, because I think when you start something new, you always have some kind of apprehension, and there really wasn't any need for that because everyone was so friendly. We were really put at ease. We weren't expected to know anything, and that continued when we went up to our desks to sit in our first department. There's no assumed knowledge. It's absolutely fine to ask lots of questions, and there's no need to be nervous at all. I've always quite liked Bristol as a city. I've visited here a few times previously, but I'm really enjoying living here now. There's so much that you can do, so many places you can eat and drink and visit. It's a really nice kind of small city, so you can walk very easily to everywhere. All your friends live in a very close proximity to you. There's plenty going on. It's quite artsy, quite foodie. And actually, if you want to escape the city and go somewhere green, that's really easy as well. So I'd just say it's a really, really good quality of life. Absolutely love living here, really. It's a good choice. I think the pros of being in Bristol as opposed to being in London are the quality of life that you can have here. I really enjoy being able to walk to work, not having to take a tube or a train or anything like that. Everyone lives in really close proximity. I think in London I have friends that they all live in London, but they're actually an hour and a half away from each other, whereas that just doesn't happen here. I think the firm itself was a big attraction. They offer really good quality work, but without having to necessarily sacrifice all of your social life as you might have to at some of the London firms. But you can still get such a good quality training contract, still get to do really good work, but actually live in this lovely place that's a city in the countryside, and it's just a good place to be. I definitely think that the firm has very good retention rates, posting sort of 100% figures in a few years past. So I think there's quite a confidence amongst my kind of intake that you don't have to worry too much about being kept on. I think, they do want to retain you, they want to develop you as a lawyer with a view to you still being here in 10 years' time. And that's great. You look around you and there are so many partners that were in my position. A few years ago they were trainees here and now they've made it right to the top. So I think that's very much part of the culture is we'll invest in you, we'll train in you, and then, you stay here for a long time and contribute to that as well. I think the collaboration value is a really big one that you see every day. I remember when I was applying to Burgess Salmon, it was described as being a collegiate law firm. I didn't really know what that meant necessarily, but I think it's so obvious to see once you arrive here is that everyone is working across the firm to deliver the best service for clients. So it'll be, 2, 3, even more teams working together for this end result. Everyone's popping in and out of each other's offices, on the phone to each other, all working together. And I think that collaboration one is a really big one about what makes Burgess Salmon different to other firms. I think ambition, definitely, having been to the AGM last year, sort of saying, look, we're posting these figures, we're just going to grow and grow. I think that's definitely part of it as well. And respect. I think, everyone respects each other. It's a very friendly culture to be in. So I think definitely the values reflect what it's actually like to work here. I think it's definitely quite easy to make new friends. I wasn't too nervous about that fact because the graduate intake is 28 people in my year and it's going to be 30 next year, I think, as well. So you sort of start with a ready-made peer group, as it were. In some jobs, people move to cities, they just start, there's just one of them, and actually it can be quite lonely. But I really think we're quite lucky in that respect that we all started at the same time. Everyone's really social, really friendly, and actually if you want to do something at the weekend, there's always someone that will join in. There's always drinks after work on a Friday. Everyone eats lunch together every day down in the restaurant downstairs. I think learning and development is very key here at Burgess Salmon. They've won awards for being a really good provider of training contracts in terms of training you really well. And I think that's definitely one of the things that attracted me to the firm when I was looking to make applications. You get a really good sort of 2.5, 3 week training period when you first start. And then throughout your training contract, you're trained both in kind of sort of wide concept ideas of what being a trainee is like, what being a lawyer is like, all the important things that you have to do in terms of client care, that kind of thing. But actually, you're also invited to really quite specific training in your department that you won't necessarily always understand all of it because the people that are being trained could have been working in that department for 20 years, but you're definitely still encouraged to go along to just pick up all these kind of niche areas that each department works on. So it's definitely very much kind of high-level training and really specific subject training, as it were. There's a team of people that are dedicated to development. You can book yourself onto extra training in certain areas. I definitely feel supported in that way. I think I don't have one sort of standout moment that I'm most proud of professionally. It's more the little moments, day by day, week by week, when you're obviously being valued for the contribution you're putting into the team. For example, a few weeks ago, my supervisor turned around to me and said, look, I don't think I'll be able to meet this deadline if you weren't here kind of helping me out getting this thing done. And it's those moments, those kind of bits of positive feedback that you get as you're going through, where you really feel like you're part of the team. You're not just here to learn, you're here to contribute as well. I think those are the moments that make me feel most proud.